Hi, this is Sheryl Kimes, and I have a mission for you, should you choose to accept it. How can you use your menus as revenue generators in your F&B outlets, for banqueting, all over the place? So let's just kind of take a look at this. Let's start off and look at some of the things from user experience design. And they've got names, but let's look at the basic concepts here. Make it less complex, make it easy, highlight what you want to sell, and then people tend to remember the first and the last and the most recent. And those of you who are in kind of e-commerce know these sorts of things. Okay, Hick's law. You want to make it easier. You want to decrease the decision time for your customer. Make it less complex. Amazon is masterful at this, almost too masterful because it's so easy just to buy now with one click. But fewer choices, highlighting your recommended options, and so forth. So let's just take a look at some of this. This is a study that was done. We're looking at asking customers to choose. Okay, you got 24 jams versus 6 jams. When you're confronted with so many choices, our minds just kind of shut down, right? And so with the 24 jams, 60% of shoppers stopped for a sample, and 2 samples were tasted on average, and about 3% of them purchased. Versus with 6, 40% stopped, 2 samples tasted, but 30% bought. So it makes it easier for people to decide. Or look at this one, where they're highlighting, okay, best value. This is the one that we want them to buy. And reducing cognitive load, avoiding visual clutter, making it easy for people to process. This is one that my students found. This is oh my goodness, what were they thinking? This is a little bit of overkill, shall we say? Versus look at this sort of thing, the isolation effect. Calls to action should look different, highlighting what you want to sell. This red apple really stands out a whole lot. And then people tend to remember the first and the last items in a series. And on average, people have about 5 things in short-term memory. And this is from research. So the implications of this is that you want to put what you want to sell at the top or bottom of a list and reduce the number of items to choose from. Again, think menus. Oh, goodness sakes. This one is a little bit much, isn't it? Versus McDonald's is really good at this, reducing the choice, making it easier. And look at the way that they're kind of making this one a little bit larger. And then when we get into menu design, there's basically, these are all research-based because there's a lot of people who talk about menus, but as a academic, I always like the research. So it kind of ties in with this session. So things on how you name it, how you describe it, where and how you place it, and how the price is shown. And there's a lot more than this, but this is enough to get us started here. And so how you name it, using descriptive labels. So things like geographic, it's from, it's Maine lobster, nostalgic, grandma's, sensory, it's a succulent such and such, and and all of a sudden you start to feel a little hungry. Or brand, Jack Daniels. I mean, and it's associated. People associate that with some sort of quality, and they find it interesting. So this is a study that was done at Cornell. And so they had different sets of menus. So they had regular name, for example, red beans with rice, traditional Cajun red beans with rice was the descriptive name. Or let's just look at another one, chocolate pudding, satin chocolate pudding. Or if we look at the seafood fillet, succulent Italian seafood fillet. And it better be Italian, right? But you look at these words that they're using here, and you're probably looking at this and going, yeah, right, Sherry, like this is going to make a difference. Well, yeah, it did. 27% increase in sales with the more descriptive names, higher perception of quality, and an increased intent to return. Some of these things hard to believe, but these are all shown in the research. And then how you describe it. Do you want to have it be simple, or do you want to have it be complex? And so here's a study that was done. The simple was just listing the ingredients, which quite frankly is the way a lot of times our chef will put it, versus the complex, the 10-ounce grilled tenderloin, sweet garlic and thyme crust, slice. Oh, getting hungry, hungry, hungry. Okay, so how do people react to this? Well, they were willing to pay more for the more complex one. They viewed it as higher quality and a higher intention to buy. Again, think about this with your menus. And then where and how you place it. So, where on the page, think back to this recency effect that we just talked about. Where should it be located? And what about highlighting it? And so Google is wonderful at this. And if you think about this heat map, what's up here? What's over there? Ads. Google is revenue managing their landing page. And very frequently, most of us don't go much past the first page. And so Google's using that well. Or you could even look at this with Expedia or with Chope. Or if you start to look at the delivery apps, the ones that are at the top are the ones that tend to get booked or booked first. And so back again to this whole thing, we're making it easy for people to choose. And so basically, the first 2 or 3 items in a category typically sell the best, which goes back to some of the user experience design. So you want to place your highest margin items at the beginning of the list, particularly if they're popular. And the most frequently sold items are easy to find on the menu. So again, you want to put your high margin items in an easy to find location because that's what you want people to buy. And so highlighting, the pictures, think about that. It becomes food porn, right? The picture looks so appetizing, you want to have it. Or boxing things, or saying it's the house special or the chef's special. Again, what you're doing is you're highlighting it, making it easy for people. And then how the price is shown with the currency and the order of the price and then the alignment of the price. And we're not going to talk about decoys and contrast, but this is basically when you have something super expensive on the menu. Let's say you've got a $400 bottle of Dom Perignon, and the next cheapest bottle is maybe $120, and all of a sudden the $120 wine looks good. That's a decoy sort of thing. It's like, wow, what a deal I'm getting. And so this is a study that I did with one of my former PhD students, and we took a series of menus, and we had different ones. Some of them had dollar signs, some of them listed the word dollars, and some of them just had a number. And we went through and looked to see what difference did it make. Well, it was really quite interesting. The average check per person for any mention of currency was about 8% lower than if there was no mention of currency. And this comes from a psychological concept called fear of paying, pain of paying. And so a real simple thing is just get rid of the dollar signs or any mention of currency. And then the price order, low to high, it makes it too easy for people to choose the first one. This is back to kind of the primacy and recency effect. You probably want to have it mixed because you're trying to, not that we're trying to confuse people, which actually we sort of are, is that you don't want to make them, okay, I'm going to go for the cheapest. I'm going to go for the cheapest. We're going to have these mixed in here. And then should you have them aligned or obscured? The research on this one, look at how easy it is to compare the prices here, just to go up and down the list, versus here, good, no dollar signs, and they're kind of obscured a little bit. You're not highlighting the price. And so now, after this video, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to analyze this menu that Philip's about to share with you. And what I want you to do is take a look at it and figure out how can you improve it? What are some of the things that we just talked about that you could put into there? And I could tell you that this is something that works really, really well and is a great way to be able to increase revenue. So good luck. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to hearing how you did.